My name is Gerad Kite and I'm the founder and director of Kite Clinic. We are a classical five-element acupuncture practice in the heart of London's West End, and we provide this system of medicine to all patients that come to us. I'd like to take some time to explain to you how this system of medicine works. What differentiates us from other styles of acupuncture is that our primary focus is to find the cause of disease. And the cause of disease is not necessarily tied in with the symptom that the person presents with. Many patients come to us with backache, headaches, fertility problems, but this doesn't tell us where the problem originates. And so this system stands alone and is very different to the Western approach in that the job of the acupuncturist is to find the true cause of disease. Classical five-element acupuncture was developed over 4,000 years ago. The Chinese at that time had a very close relationship with nature, and what they observed was that as the seasons changed, so should they. For example, in the spring they knew that they had to plant their crops to ensure they had a harvest in late summer. What they noticed that sometimes things went wrong, but nature would naturally correct the problem and things would continue. Each year the seasons came round and round again. They also realised that human beings got sick too. Things would go wrong and they would have illness. And so they applied the same understanding they had about the external world to their internal world and developed a system of medicine that is based on the natural laws. The ancient Chinese recognised that they were part of something bigger than them, nature. They understood that they were affected by everything around them, and they also understood they all came from the same source. They also understood, however, that every single human being was completely and utterly unique. And part of this system of medicine is to recognise that difference in people. So although we are all human beings and we have the same body functions and we have a similar way of being, each one of us is completely and utterly unique. And this concept of destiny, the idea that each of us has our own path in life, was celebrated and encouraged. This life force, or qi as the Chinese called it, apparently chaotic, actually had a natural order. And the natural order that we experience as human beings is the seasons. The seasons, an endless cycle that go on year after year, tell us that life has a natural pattern. And the Chinese realised that this natural pattern was the order of the universe. So they saw the 5 seasons. So they had winter, spring, summer, late summer, autumn, and back to winter, an endless cycle of the seasons. They also noticed that within each season, one element predominated. So in winter, for example, the rains came and the water went deep into the ground. So was the water element. In spring, they saw new life come up, they saw the growth, and so the wood element predominated. In summer, the heat of the sun, the fire element. In late summer, the abundance of the harvest and the crops creating the earth. And in autumn, the metal element. So in autumn, you saw the condensing of earth and the minerals deep within the ground. And then finally back to winter, where we have the water element. So a natural cycle of the seasons and a natural predominance of an element in each season. And this gave the structure of life. As I explained earlier, the Chinese understood that what happened outside of them in the seasons also happened inside of them. And they understood that when there was an imbalance in the seasons that created symptoms, the same would happen within them. So they understood that the 5 elements that existed within them could also create problems if one of them went wrong. So going with the example of not planting your seeds in spring and not getting a harvest is a good example of the problem being no harvest, but the cause being no seeds in spring. And so they understood that it was very important to always look for the cause. In human beings, there's an idea that we're not perfect. We're born as imperfect creatures, and therefore we all have a weakness or an Achilles heel. Each person has a predominant weakness in one of the five elements, and this is seen as the cause of distress or imbalance in their system. Let me give you an example. Let's imagine the cause of the imbalance is in the wood element. So everything is perfect, things are going along nicely, and then suddenly the wood element starts to become distressed. We start to see it go out of shape. The other elements try and maintain control, but very soon the next one cannot hold itself together and loses shape, which passes on to the next one. And eventually the whole system starts to create imbalance and disharmony. The Chinese were also very aware of time. The seasons obviously is the time of the year, however they also noticed that there was a 24-hour cycle, day and night. What they recognised was that there were certain things that were better to do at certain times of the day. And they realised that this clock originated in us. This clock was affected by the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun, and meant that our bodies are designed to do certain things at certain times of the day. An obvious example is when it's dark and it's night time, our bodies naturally want to sleep. It is unnatural to sleep during the day. But they broke this down even further, and they worked out that each of the internal organs had more energy and was better equipped to do certain things at certain times of the day. For example, between 7 and 9 a.m, our stomach is designed to take in food. That's the time to eat a big meal because our body will process it, digest it, and turn it into energy. But it's no good us doing that unless we've excreted the waste from the day before. And so our bodies are also designed between 5 and 7 a.m. to excrete the waste. So the natural cycle tells us that we need to defecate first thing in the morning and then replenish our energy by eating right after that. This may seem obvious, but many people don't have a bowel movement till the evening and don't get hungry until the afternoon. And this simply tells us they're going against the natural laws and therefore could be an indicator for a cause of disease. Possibly the greatest contribution the Chinese have given us is their understanding of what it is to be human. They understood that we have a body and we have a mind, but we also have a spirit. And what they meant by spirit was our ability as human beings to experience life, to experience a qualitative way of being, to feel joy, to feel heat, to smell, the things that make us human. And so the system of medicine always looks at these three levels. And what we look at with patients is at what level the distress is. And in Western society, many of us have fit bodies, have fit minds, and yet the way we experience our lives is very difficult. And this in time will affect our minds and our bodies. And so it's very important with this system of medicine to acknowledge how someone feels in themselves. The job of the classical five-element acupuncturist is to ensure that the conditions are right in you. Just like a gardener will make sure the conditions are right for everything to grow and thrive, the acupuncturist works in the same way, balancing the five elements and ensuring there is balance and harmony. If we've done our job properly, you will feel different. You will feel balanced and harmonious. And the idea is that when the conditions are right, the birds will come.